You've made it to day 6, and that puts you ahead of about 90% of people who start a series like this or probably a course like this. And the thing is that most of these people quit by day 2 because of, when they see all these AI tutorials, they don't just make it past the first concept. But you did. Now, here is a question you have probably been sitting on since the first video. How do you get paid for this? I'm not talking about you making a $5 selling prompt on Fiverr or telling you, to find a low paying gig on Upwork. I'm talking about real money. I'm talking about your first $1,000 contract or like a technical partnership or a relationship with a client that pays you every single month. That is what I'm talking about here. The promise I'm going to make you going forward is I'm going to walk you through exactly how I landed my first $1,000 client using nothing more than just the layer 1 skill, which is prompting. The same skill I've been teaching you, that you've been learning all through the week. I'm not going to talk about automation or code or portfolio. I'm just talking about the brain that we put together from layer 1 all together in one place. Now, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things that will help you work on this exact thing from the mindset shift that is going to separate you from a $20 an hour freelancer into a $1,000 technical partner, basically. And I'm also going to give you the pitch structure that I use that got the clients to say yes in just one conversation we had. And lastly, I'm also going to show you the math that is going to prove to you that you can collect $1,000 in a bargain for what you sell every single time. If you are new here, my name is Jude. You can call me Nirvana. For the last 4 years, I've been building AI systems for agencies, startups, and also their businesses and the clients they work with as an AI marketing automation specialist. This is day 6 of the 5 layers of AI series, where in the next 60 days, I'm going to take you from the foundation level of AI into building autonomous system. Now, you finished layer 1 yesterday, and I told you were meant to jump into make.com, that's the layer 2, and start building real automations. But before we touch make.com, I need you to understand something. Layer 1 alone, just what you learned all through from day 1 to day 6, is enough for you. But people don't know this, but it's actually worth a lot of money in the market. And most people don't realize that, and that is why they keep learning every single time. They keep seeing this hype, this new video, crazy thing, but they never get paid. They don't make money from these things. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to say, what to show, and what to also charge. So the next time a real prospect, a client comes to you and asks, okay, so what do you actually do? You don't need to show this person a portfolio. You don't need to show this person a testimonial. You just need clarity. So let's get into this. Here's the line for today. I didn't sell AI to land my first $1,000 client. I sold them less pain. Most people watching tutorials like this out there are trying to sell AI services like I do prompt engineering, I work with ChatGPT, or I use AI, or I'm an AI consultant. That language itself that you use puts you on this bargain shelf. And that is because every single freelancer out there is also using the same word to pitch ideas to them, to pitch services to them. And the shift is this: you need to stop talking about AI and start talking about things like their calendar, their inbox, their bank account. The clients who would pay you doesn't want to hear about AI. They want to know if the problem they have is going to go away. It is as simple as that, to be honest. And once you can internalize that, your conversation changes. Your price, the pricing you give them is also going to change. Your closing rates with prospects also changes too. Now, here's what I look for. I don't search for clients who want AI. I don't search for them. I search for businesses with manual bottlenecks in places where either their money or their time is getting like friction, is getting this form of friction. From experience, there have been 3 places I've been able to pinpoint that have bottlenecks they have this friction. The first one is the lead intake. That is where a founder personally is reading inquiries, email inquiries like this. This person is probably spending like an hour every single morning just to decide which emails are worth replying to. A lot of founders get a lot of emails every single day. It's a lot. I am one of the people sending emails to them as well every single day. I have an outreach that I keep sending emails to them, and they need to just be able to pick out, is this worth reading? Is this okay? Would this benefit my work? Would this benefit my business? The second thing is data transfer. Probably someone in their team is, copying and pasting from PDFs to spreadsheets, from spreadsheets to CRM, and from CRMs again into, weekly reports that nobody actually reads. I've gotten in touch with a particular business last year, which that was what they needed. And what they needed was something as simple as someone to be in charge of the back end to see every single report and analyze every single thing into weekly reports every single week. And the thing is that, well, most times these people don't even read it. The last thing I'm going to show you here is to repeat customer questions. So in this case, a support team that is writing like the same answer every single time to every single client, every single day, year after. You get the gist right now. When you find any one of these problems, I believe you have found the $1,000 problem. And there's a pitch I use every time for things like this. What I tell them is, I can say something like, I notice your team spend about 10 hours a week manually qualifying leads. That's for this. I can build a system that reads each lead, check your criteria, and only books meeting with people who actually have a budget. This runs for about 24 hours a day. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't quit, and it doesn't ask for a raise. Now, if you notice what I did there, I did not mention anything about AI. I never mentioned anything AI. And that is the thing. These people, these clients, they don't need to know. They don't need to know what is running underneath. They don't care actually. All they need to know is if that problem they have is going to go away. Now, let me show you how this plays out. This is something I have mentioned numerous times. When I was starting out, I called myself a digital marketer, a digital funnel expert, email marketing expert. I build websites. I run automations. Back then we're using Zapier. I was trying to be useful to every single person. The result, nobody saw me as something, essential. They didn't see that, okay, they could add me to their team because I kept on saying, oh, I can do this, I build that as well. That was why I was actually very busy then, but I was broke at the same time. But where the shift happened was when I stopped trying to be useful to every single person and I started analyzing specific industries. I started looking at coaches, I started looking at finance teams, and I now scaled to targeting B2B agencies. So how I do this is I'll read their forum, I'm going to watch their videos, I'm going to look at the work they are doing manually that AI could analyze everything in just about 20 minutes. And the first 1,000 contracts that I closed came from exactly that approach. So what I do is anytime I walk into a conversation, I just approach them in a way where I say, I can build a system that makes sure you never speak to a lead who doesn't already a business or and a budget of over $5,000. Now, this alone is going to save you 10 hours a week on conversations that were never going to close anyway. So, when you notice what I said just now, the sentence was not about AI as well. It was more about his week. It was more about his calendar. It is about the hours it was already burning, the time it takes before he is able to do something productive. So I just came in as someone that could save the day. And you need to see this. The AI there is more like, it's like an engine that is going to keep running underneath that offer. The AI exists, but I don't need to throw that. I don't need to make that a catchphrase to tell him, oh, I want to build something with AI. What I noticed is that after our call, in about 20 minutes, he he said, yes, let us work together on this, and in the same week he actually sent the money. Now this is the same model that I used, and that was a game I played to get that particular client. Now let me give you what you will use to close this kind of client. Now let me show you how to close this client. This is the same thing that is going to turn any interested into, yes, when can we start projects. So most freelancers tell clients what they can do every single time. An example is me saying, I can build this for you, I can automate this for you, I can automate that, or here's what is possible. But the thing is, that alone is going to put a burden on these clients. I've noticed most of them at that moment, I actually noticed that they are always trying to imagine and put together what you're trying to tell them, and they're also trying to trust if you're also going to deliver it as well. So from there I got to notice that the pros don't talk, they actually show. Here is the move. You can ask a prospect for their most boring documents. An example is their service manual. It can be their old FAQ. It can be their internal SOP or a pricing guide. Anything that they have that nobody outside the company would care about. Nobody would care about. So you could take this thing home, and you can use what I taught that was in the day 2, the grounding method. You can feed this document to AI. You lock it down with like an anchor where you state it out. You say use only this information. Then you show up to the next meeting. And you can have prospective clients themselves. You can ask them to check the bots. You can ask complex questions about their business. You can even give them to ask questions by themselves, and this bot is going to answer correctly. It will even answer in details and in their own language from their own data. Now in that moment, when you look at their face, you will notice like this form of shock, because this is probably something that they might have been trying to do all this while, and you can only keep showing them more of it. That proof alone is going to change you in their face. It's going to change you from being someone that is asking them to trust you. You become someone already built them a new employee, for example, an employee that knows their business even better than probably half of their team, and that alone is simple to close that job for you. That moment is where the $1,000 stop feeling expensive. So in this case now, you will notice that you probably did not pitch AI. You handed them just the proof. You show them this is what is possible. It's as simple as that. Now let me give you the math to defend this price. Most people start by undercharging because they feel like they price based on their time. Like an example is saying it took me 2 hours to build this, to charge like $200. The thing is that I personally hate this. Even when I was using LinkedIn for outreach, not even Upwork now, when I was using LinkedIn, I was always clear that I don't charge based on time. I charge based on how much value they will see in this, because I believe doing that will make you stay broke. If you keep charging based on your time hourly, it's just not nice. So I can say you should also probably work on the same step. You should not be charging based on your time. Oh my God. You shouldn't be charging based on your time. You should charge based on what you are saving them. Now, here is how I calculate it, and I put everything here. A client is paying, for example, a virtual assistant $20 per hour, and this virtual assistant spends 10 hours a week manually filtering and replying leads. That is basically a $200 every single week, and every month, that is multiplied by 4 weeks, is $800 a month. Now you can see that this is, in a year, multiplied by 12, that's almost $10,000. When you think about it, I built him a system that just did the same job better and faster. This is going to be on, and I only did it for just $1,000. The system pays itself in, let me say, about 5 weeks. What I put here is about 5 weeks. After that, every dollar that is coming to his pocket is saving it as profit. Now the first year is going to save about in the first year is going to save him about $9,000. In the coming year, it is going to save him the same amount, even more than that, and in the year 3 also the same. Because this time around, this is a bot that is not going to call in sick. This bot is not going to quit without a notice. This bot is not going to an handout during onboarding. That is why when you offer someone like that a $1,000, it's not going to be expensive to them, because that's basically like the easiest decision that that person can make in that month. Because when you frame your price like this, the client is not, do I want to spend $1,000, is this worth it? This client is deciding on, how should I save this amount, how should I save $9,000? That's a completely different conversation now, because this time around this person is focused on saving money rather than having to spend money. Now let me also address something, and this is something I hear every time from people building outside the US or UK. I am from India, I am from Nigeria, I'm from the Philippines, or will this client actually pay me? I actually hear things like that. I'm Nigerian myself, and it is true, but that's the thing. That's the difference between the real founders and clients that actually screens for locations like this. Because real founders don't even care about where you are from. I've reached out to some founders recently, and they did not even care in asking, oh, where are you from? All they cared about were three things. Can this person communicate clearly with them? They want to know if this system I'm building, does it even work? They also want to know if I will be there when something breaks. If the answer is yes to all three, you can get hired anywhere, any place on earth. Now, the client that screens people out of their location, I can assume they were not ready to pay in the first place. They were probably just going to push you around on Slack. When you want to get an invoice, they might even disappear. And I'm pretty sure you don't want those kind of clients. The ones who pay real money care about your work, they care about reliability, they care about whether you sound like a partner to them, or maybe you sound like a freelancer that is just looking for a gig. The skill you built this week is more like the equalizer. The logic behind it is very tight. Your communication, if you're able to work on this with AI for it to be very direct, and if your system runs very well, I'm pretty sure that if you have these three things in place, where you have your logic being tight, your information being very direct, and what you built is actually working very well, your location doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them. I've reached out to people like this. So I can say you should stop treating it as a barrier and start treating it like background noise. Just push it. Now, before I let you go, I just want to say this. Once again, layer 1 is officially over. In 6 days, you have gone from AI is just a fancy chatbot to having an actual operating system for thinking, for building, for selling AI work as well. So at this phase, I can know that you know how to talk to the brain. You know how to ground it in facts as well. You know where to point it for real money. You know which niche or which industry. You know how to make it think like branches. You know how to make it write its own instruction as well, which was the meta prompt that we talked about. Now you know what skills, what it's in the market as well. So I guess the question now is, if a client handed you a $1,000 right now in exchange for solving one manual problem in their business, which industry will you walk into? Which specific problem would you target? Which prompts and textbook combination will you reach for? Which just How can you put all these things together? How can you target an industry and say this is what you want to sell to them? Understanding that right now we know how to price, we know how to charge, we know how to approach them. If you can answer all this with confidence, I can tell you are literally ready for the layer 2 we are going to jump into. But if you can't, you can go back to day 3. You pick a lane, you research one industry tonight, you find the bottleneck, before you keep moving to day 7 and all. And when we finally start, using the tools, that's the AI automation, you'll be able to understand, how to point them and what to point them at as well. One more thing, before I go, I left some extras here which you can check out. Here you can use it to, basically what I said, just you can use it to look for problems found in some niches. This is not an AI. I didn't build an AI here. This is more of, I built this in a form, a prompt logic, where when you click on this, these are answers I've put in place already. So you can click on all these and you get, I have basically 8 of them which I put together, where you can just pick any one and you see the problems they have. You see the kind of pitch you can also send to them, and something you can use to build as well. This is more like a system that you can use to give them and tell them this is how much they are saving every single year. If you build this just one time, 1,500, and you are saving them this amount, I'm pretty sure these dental clinics would, or these dental practices would actually want to work with you. Same thing for solar, law firm, real estate, insurance, freight, accounting, and plumbing. When it comes to lead intake, you see what happens, data transfer, what they do. I just had to specifically work for every single one, and I attached the problems they have and the way you can pitch this to them. So that for that. You can also see how to get that pitch very well. I have some templates in place already. For dental practices, you can see this for solar and law firm. So anyone you click on, you can use it to build a pitch. You can see you're able to build a pitch, you know how to target them. So these are just outside the whole day 7. I just put it together so you can check through it, you can work on it, you can see what can benefit you from that. One more thing before I go. If you want to sharpen the pricing instincts, the one I just walked you through just now, you can go and study Alex Moses' method. You can check his content on offers and value-based pricing. It is basically like the closest thing to a free MBA on YouTube. What you want is anything is done on value versus price, or what he calls like a grand slam offer. When you watch him, you can pay attention to one specific thing. He never sells the product. He always sells the outcome. He sells what the client's life look like after the problem disappeared. That's the exact instincts I was trying to teach you today. So it teaches it across 1,000 real examples, better than I could in just a couple of minutes that I worked on this. So you can watch on that tonight, watch one of his offer breakdown tonight, and you come back for day 7 as well, so we can continue. All right, peace.